Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Destiny, and this week I'm very excited because I am participating in a YouTube challenge. It's hosted by Sab over at Sab's Rehab. I will leave a link in the description box below. If you're interested, you can check out the other videos too. Let's get started. This is the worst dresser I have ever worked on. The veneer is peeling on every drawer. The wood under the veneer is damaged. There's wood details missing. On these top drawers, I can see where the previous owner filled the hardware holes. I'm super bummed about the original hardware because it wasn't casted correctly. There are paint drips all over this dresser and the top is extremely warped. And it's just absolutely filthy, inside and out. So, let's get to work. Let's start by removing the hardware first. Usually I like to clean my pieces after I've taken off the hardware, but this veneer was so badly damaged and peeling that I thought it would just be easier to peel this up first and then clean it. The description on this marketplace find said that this lady bought this dresser from someone who refinished it, and I kind of immediately felt bad because I'm just wondering how much she actually paid for it because how rough it was. And you can see that the previous person had a lot of problems with the veneer because they used stain to blend in those spots that the veneer was missing from. So we're just going to eliminate all of these problems and start fresh. Now I'm just using wood glue and I'm going to fix actually a majority of these corners, then clamp them down. And in the areas that were missing big chunks of wood, I just used wood filler to build it up. After the repairs were made to the drawers, it was time to work on the top. After my husband and I got the dresser laid down, he helped me unscrew the remaining, 7 screws that were holding the top on, and maybe that's why the top was warped. I don't know. After we got the top off, we put the dresser back on its feet, and we put the top back on, but upside down. And this is what it's looking like after flipping it. We then decided to see what would happen if we just screwed on the top, if it would correct the bowing. And I personally think it did. When I put a level on there, it was completely straight. And we also replaced the missing screws. Next I'm using Quickwood, and it's just a 2-part epoxy that you mix together and then you just fill it into the hardware holes. I like using Quickwood to fill hardware holes because it doesn't shrink as much as wood filler does. And the most glue used on one project reward goes to me, but I wanted to make sure that the wood that I was going to put on here was very secure. If there's something that I could do over again, it would be this. I personally think that this wood was just a little bit too thin and I needed something a little bit more durable. but we don't learn until we try, and I'm pretty happy with the results. Because the wood is so lightweight, it wasn't laying completely flat, so I had to get creative and use long boards to try to apply even pressure across the whole top. And because I used all my clamps at the front of the dresser, I needed help on the back, so I had to get creative again. But for this being my first time doing something like this, I'm pretty proud of how it turned out. And just in case if I didn't put enough glue down, I'm nailing it just to be sure. That should do. Now I'm just going back with my wood filler to fix the holes. To save time, it's just easier if I remove this. And I'm kind of glad I did because it made it more modern looking. The top 3 drawers had these plastic slides and they were all broken, and it was a very big chore to replace them all. We put the new drawer slide down and made a mark at the end where it needed to be cut. We then measured the drawer to find the middle. Then we used this triangle ruler to make sure that it was all even. I then traced the slide so that I could put glue down. And once I got the drawer lined up again, I used my nail gun to secure it. As always, I'm using Dawn dish soap and warm water and scrubbing the inside and out. Clean your furniture before you paint. This current paint job is very textured, so I'm using a 120 grit sandpaper to go over it to make it all smooth. And then I decided last minute that it would be cool to have the legs and the top the same color. So I took my sander on the lowest setting possible and just very carefully went over the legs and sanded them down. I bought a new primer and I had a little trouble getting it out of my spray gun. I had to dilute it with a lot of water. Overall, I thought it had really great coverage even for the first coat. I applied 2 coats of primer, sanding in between with the 400 grit sandpaper. I'm using Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color French Linen, and I'm putting it in my Wagner Flexio 4000 spray gun. Dixie Belle chalk paint is pretty thick, so I like to dilute mine just to make it flow better. I have never used Dixie Belle paint other than for paint washes, and I am so happy that I decided to try it. I absolutely love it. The coverage is great. It goes on so smooth. I love it, and this is not sponsored. I also applied 2 coats of this paint, and I sanded in between with 400 grit sandpaper. My original idea was to stain this top since I put a new piece of wood on it, but as I was painting it, I decided that I didn't want to stain it and I wanted to do something to make it look more airy. So I decided that a paint wash would look really nice. After removing the paper and the tape off the legs, I went over it with a tack cloth. I decided to use Dixie Belle French Linen for the paint wash also, and my ratio was about 25% paint, 75% water because I wanted to see the wood grain still. I applied the first coat and let it dry. I did a sanding in between with 400 grit, and this is the second coat of paint wash that I'm applying, and I think the coverage is absolutely perfect. And I did the same process on the legs. I painted the first coat of paint wash, let it dry, sanded it down, painted it again. Hubby helped once again, and he measured the whole drawer to find the middle and then punched new holes for me. Now I'm applying the top coat. I like to use Minwax polyacrylic, and I sprayed the top 3 times and the base twice. Sanding in between each coat with a 400 grit sandpaper. The top 3 drawers had a lot of staining that I could not get out with my sander, so I decided to use this eucalyptus printed wallpaper to cover up the drawers. Here's one last look of the before. I had a lot of fun refinishing this dresser, and I learned a lot in the process, and I hope that maybe you learned something too. I hope I've earned your subscription, and don't forget to like and comment. It helps small channels like mine grow. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!